Hi everyone. I'm going to be showing you how to take notes for when we do our classwork. So what you can do is there's two options. You can do it just plain loose leaf, or you can actually print out the notes, which I have everything here for the whole chapter. And you could do that prior to the lesson. So in order to do that, you can click on classwork. And if you scroll down, you can find materials to print out prior to class. Click on slides for note taking for section 1-1. That's what I would tell you which section to print out. You would open up your slides, and then you can find and click print. And then you have a couple of options. You can go to more settings, and you can page per sheet. You can click you can have for two of the slides for one sheet. You can do 4 slides, but just know that the picture gets smaller as you put more slides on each page. All right, but whatever you feel, and then you would click print. So I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to show you now how we're going to take notes. So we're going to do it just with the worksheet first with all the slides. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go right in the beginning for you. So I don't know, I'm not sure because this is teacher view right now. So for student view, you just want to make sure you always click on those 3 hamburgers, those 3 lines, which was hamburger. So there's those 3 lines, which is the hamburger. You're going to click dynamic classroom, and that's what we're going to be working through. You're going to click, if you can see menu, let me go, which way do I have to go? This way. Click menu, okay? And then this arrow will always go as far back as possible to show you all those chapters that you want. So I'm going to go to chapter 1. I'm going to click that arrow, and I'm going to scroll down because I'm going to work with section 1-1. So I'm going to find section 1-1, click the arrow, and then this is where all the material is. So we're going to start with the lesson. And I'm going to show you, you're going to have examples. So we're going to have one example, and then in that example, which is a certain skill, we're going to have try-its that talk about that skill. Then we're going to have another example, and then we're going to have try-its to work on that skill. Then we're going to have another example, and then we're going to have try-its to work on that skill. And if you notice, our numbers don't keep going back 1 to 4. It continues. So 1 to 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12. And then when we're done with learning all our skills and practicing some problems, we have a self-assessment, which is basically a review of the questions that we just worked with. Now, if you notice, there's actually 2 self-assessments, which tells me that there's another advanced question at the end in a lesson. We will do them sometimes later on. We will do them right there and then. Sometimes we will skip for a later marking period. But right now, we usually work with examples 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes there's more examples. But as soon as you see the first set of self-assessments, you know that you're just doing a review. If you see the second self-assessments and you get concerned which one to do, I'm always going to tell you what question numbers. So for example, these self-assessments are 13 to 18. I'm going to say work on self-assessments 13 to 18. If you go to this self-assessment and you see 19 to 21, you know those are not the ones to do. All right, so that is your examples with your self-assessment and with your try-its. So here we're going to go to example 1. All right. And if you notice, it says key vocabulary. We'll do our lesson. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to go into it because this is actually our first lesson. I'm going to move my computer for a minute, and I want to show you the notes. So any paper, new paper you get, you do need to put a proper heading on here. So I would like you to take out a blank piece of paper, actually, and have this in the front of your binder. You're going to have your first name and your last name. And yes, my name is Tony Marie. All right, and that's going to be on the top line on the left. It's not up here. It's right on the line, nice and neat. It's going to be name, then you're going to have the date. So the date we will say, let's work with Friday. So we're going to say September 18th, 2020. Okay. And then we're going to have our block number. So you do not have to write block if you don't want to, but I'll say block 5. Okay. And then this is your class number. And the class number I'm going to actually be giving you tomorrow. So for this year, usually it's all basically because of alphabetical order. So if you are the first in line on the alphabet, you will be number 1. If you're the last of the alphabet in my class, you'll be number 20. However, because of this year, we're going to work with, you might have a letter at the end, whether you're cohort A or cohort B. All right, so you might say you're 1A, okay? But then the third line, this is probably also one of the most important parts, you need to write the assignment. So you're going to write either a CW or an HW. CW is classwork, HW is homework. So you're going to write classwork, and we're working with section 1.1, and that's very important to have your heading on the top. All right, so please have a piece of loose leaf paper out. Please make sure you did this. Press pause on this if you needed to, and put it in the front of your binder in a protector sheet, okay? So I'm going to hold this and put this aside. And then here's my notes. Now, if you're working with the notes, you still have to do the same thing. You still have to put your name, you have to put your date, you have to put the block underneath it, the class number, and then you do not have to put the assignment because the assignment is here. Okay. If you want to staple it together, you can. This way you don't have to write your name on every single page. I do not mind. All right, so when you're going through, you would just be following along as we follow along in the lesson. So you wouldn't have to be taking as many notes as you would on loose leaf. You'll be filling in the blanks. This is part of the power. And then I'm going to show you, if you recall, remember in the video, I showed you example 1. Well, here's the problems that we're going to be working on in example 1. And then if you remember, what comes after examples comes the try-its. Well, here are the try-its, okay? And then if you keep going, here's example 2. Here's your try-its. Here's example 3. With plenty of room to write, here are your try-its. Here's more try-its because you didn't have enough room. If you notice, it says 9 through 12 here. It's because these try-its all go together with example 3, okay? And then here come your self-assessments. You're going to notice that there may be times where questions are missing. So for example, 13, 14, 15, and then I'm skipping 16, and I'm giving you 17 and 18. That is not by accident. That is on purpose, and that is for us to make sure that we understand what we're doing, okay? And there might have been a skill that we're going to go on at a later date. Now, if you were doing it by loose leaf, you do have to be a little bit more specific. So for example, here it says up on the top, if you can read it, it says key vocabulary. And then you notice it says example 1, and then we talked about try-its. So when you're doing your notes, you're going to have to write key vocabulary. And you can highlight, underline, do whatever you need to do down here. Then you're going to write, when it's time, example 1. Highlight, underline, whatever you need to do. And then your examples are usually letters. So you would write A if there's 3 problems. You write out the problem, you do all the work, then you can do B. But it must be all labeled and nice and neat and everything together. When you get your final answer, say my answer's down here, you do want to circle it. And then that way I know that where your final answer is for each problem. And then you would do your try-its. So underneath, you would have try-its. And then maybe there was try-its 1. And then you would do try-its 2. Now, if you notice, I went really far down here. There's really not a lot of room down here to do my work. And I did this on purpose because if you don't have much room here and you have 3 or 4 lines, I would skip it and just start on the back and write try it and go from there. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. We will be going over it again in class as well. And just remember, neatness counts. I need to make sure that I understand your numbers, I understand your letters, and I love seeing explanations. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye.